Hey guys and girls, Bored Now back with you. On this video I will be talking about the final episode of the first season of Spides, so episode 8, and it is called Awakening. So this fun ride of a trippy German sci-fi mixed with some major soapy plot lines and often hilarious dialogue comes to an end for the first season at least. The ending, definitely there's a cliffhanger, so I reckon we're gonna get a series 2, unless it's just one of those endings, but I think there's a good chance we'll get a season 2 with this one. So in this last episode, it's really all about Nora and about her realizing that she's the queen and that essentially potentially the world could end unless they find a cure for her, or she could be lost forever. And at the same time, obviously all the drones, the army of drones, are coming for her, looking to reunite with her and to start the ceremony so they can essentially take over the world. So that's the whole dilemma of the episode. Nora tells all her friends exactly what the deal is, and throughout the episode Nora basically fights with her with the metamorphosis, for lack of a better term. She sort of one of these kind of, tropey type things where occasionally she'll threaten to turn or threaten to lose control of her body, and we'll see her getting worse through certain sort of signs. And good old Luca, with his gung-ho simple approach, has the idea of blowing up the army as they arrive, getting some dynamite, so they lure them to the railway, the tracks, which is where the setting is. It was in the original episode. So they originally say, yeah, let's just blow this army to smithereens. And at the same time, if they can't turn Nora back, then they're risking losing her as well. But it's obviously an end of the world type scenario, so they're kind of willing to take that risk, although they're hoping they can find a way to switch Nora back. But for a while, the whole dynamite plot is like a sort of a backup plan, because Peter, Nora's on-off love interest, kind of goes out heroically in this episode. So he goes to the institute, to the doctor, and he starts fishing about looking for a formula, because he thinks there's a formula there to cure her. And of course he's called by the doctor, because we have to have that conflict. And the doctor, we find out, is also hooked up on the bliss. She's as high as a kite as well, and has super type powers. So she gives Peter one hell of a fight, one hell of a battering. There's a struggle, because he's obviously trying to get away with the formula to make it up. But then weird bearded guy shows up again, Primer or something I think his name is. He shows up, and one of these shady sort of characters who tends to flip in between good and evil, but he actually helps Peter. He helps to kill the doctor. He shoots her, and he paves the way for Peter to mix up this serum, this formula. So he takes it back to Nora, but it's almost too late. He feeds her some of the formula, but then she's at quite an advanced stage of transforming. So poor old Peter, that wet blanket, gets killed by Nora basically, and it's the animalistic Nora, and then she realizes what she's done, and it's all sort of tragic, but it gives Peter this kind of heroic sort of death. And then at one point Marie rather than leave her friend, she wants to stay by her side and take the consequences. Obviously, they're in this scenario where the rail car with Nora might be blown up. Um, so we're getting close to this thing, but Marie, it's sort of weird that I think they just do this to swerve you, because originally she's staying with Nora, but then she's like, oh no, I can't let this go down like this. Let's sort of revert to the dynamite plan. So she kind of goes out, and there's some fun kind of action stuff, and obviously the creepy crawlies are on their way, and you get Sarah like going all like badass commander with kind of like really big sort of guns and flamethrowers and stuff, and sort of blowing them up, and obviously there's too many for them really overall, but she does get to some of them, and they start to activate the dynamite, but it's almost too late. I mean, they get like some of them, but it's almost too late to take them all out. And Nora is like really starting to change, but they're not quite sure how successful the formula has been, or if it might have been too late if she was too advanced in the changing stage, or if it might work later, it might take a while to work. At the same time, on the other side of the plot, David has been captured by the Institute and by the powers that be and all the shady characters. Him and Dominique, or Nicole as I think her first name is, they've been both captured. And they've decided then David could be a good candidate to be a drone. Then he actually has the kind of strength and all the attributes that they look out for. So they kind of like apprehend him, knock him out, they drug him. We see him injected with bliss at some point. And the same has already happened to Nicole. She's been like overtaken by bliss and by the the alien force. But yeah, so with Dave you get this kind of personal moment where he has a vision of Selena, his ex-wife. She appears to him, so it's almost like this sort of thing where he's having this trippy sort of vision because of the effects of bliss. So she's probably not really appearing to him, it's just the bliss kind of talking. So at the same time as Nora's trying to fight what's happening to her, Dave is also trying to fight back the bliss and trying to not turn into one of these things. And there's also this quite cool moment where Nora can contact him via, kind of psychic type powers that she's having, so they can make a connection. And it comes down to this quite important moment where she figures out that Dave's kind of the one left who's, they've injected bliss, but he's still at a stage where he's very much a human and can fight this. And she knows, obviously, he's on their side, so she kind of contacts him. And he manages to fight it and get back control. And he, finds his way to the site where all this is happening, and we get this quite spectacular CGI fest of this thing up on like some sort of a platform with Nora being dragged there essentially by these creatures, and then the big sort of ceremony. But Dave is able to arrive and save her essentially, but the twist, the cliffhanger, is that it appears to be too late, because although Nora's kind of saved, she does turn into the Queen sort of thing. So she then screams animalistically, and she sets off the army, and they all shoot off, and they're heading for the city, of course. So that's kind of the cliffhanger. So my guess is there will be a season 2, but it might be just one of those endings where they've kind of twisted it, where things appeared to be going well and they would save everything and then they didn't. And it might just be left open, but my guess is there will be a season 2. So there you have it. That's Spides. Not a bad finale overall. Quite good fun. And yeah, we'll see about season 2. I'm not sure if I'll cover it or not. Depends how much else I have on at the time. It's obviously not going to be a big priority, but yeah, not a bad little show. I've quite enjoyed it in a trashy, so bad it's kind of good sort of way. But yeah, that's Spied. So thanks for listening to this video. Look out for more new television content. In fact, tonight I will be live streaming, and I will be live streaming watching a double bill of the X-Files. So that will be episodes 5 and 6 of the first season, and it's the Jersey Devil and Shadow. So look out for that later on tonight. Also, the finale of Perry Mason coming up. I'll be reviewing that. Thanks for listening. See you guys later.